Hi, I'm Lucy Mills, founder of Your Ideal Fit, a service providing premium in-home and online Pilates-based fitness training. I'm about to take you through a prenatal Matwork Pilates class. No equipment needed, just a mat and maybe some cushions to help assist with your comfort. We're going to go through a full body workout, which will help to maintain and slightly increase muscle tone, strength and endurance. It will improve posture and assist in weight management throughout your pregnancy. It will also assist in regulating fatigue levels and may even improve your sleep patterns. It will assist in prevention of lower back pain. It's important that you consult and get approval from your medical practitioner before beginning or continuing your exercise program throughout your pregnancy. Thank you for joining me. I really hope you enjoy. Okay, we're going to start standing, feet hip distance. Just lift up the toes, spread them out, feel a nice even 4-point base under each foot and find the full length of your spine. We're just going to start with our breathing. In Pilates, we breathe in through the nose and out through pursed lips, like you're blowing out a row of candles. And if you just want to pop your hands just under the chest around the rib cage, just feel that three-dimensional expansion of the rib cage as you breathe in. And just feel it release away slightly from the hands as you exhale. I'm going to do a little bit of breath focus later on, but for now, let's just get the breath moving. Breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. You can relax those arms down when you're ready and just keep going. A couple more breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. And let's just come into some big shoulder rolls. Forward, up, around and back. Let's go for about 4, working through the full range of movement of those shoulders. And then from the back, around and down to the front. Keep breathing, just whatever feels comfortable for you. Breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. And then let's just have a little release through the head and neck. Dip the ear to the shoulder. Alternate side to side. No need to rush. Take it at your own pace. Make sure you obviously do an even number so we're balanced. And then take chin to chest and lift. Make sure you don't crank into the back of the neck. Almost feel like you're draping back over a tennis ball. And then just take a look side to side. Don't force it. And last one each side. All right, we're just going to move into the spine a little bit. So reaching the arms up toward the ceiling. Almost imagine you're at the bottom of a swimming pool and you're pulling yourself up to the surface of the swimming pool, lifting the chest, lifting the eye line. And then as you exhale, reach the arms up again and just look forward to me, leveling out back to neutral with the spine. Breathe in, lift the chest, lift the eye line. Again, don't crank into the back of the neck, keep the back of the neck long. So we're working into upper body extension here, which ordinarily in a mat workout we do lying on the stomach, but during our pregnancy we have to omit any lying on the tummy work. So this is just a great way to get that extension through the spine. Let's work at 4 to 5 of these. And last one, reaching those arms forward, fingertips touching. Draw one arm up and back, reach, little rotation, and inhale, feed it forward. Drive that arm up, through and back, look towards that back arm. And let's keep going with that gentle rotation. Feel that front arm reaching forward a little bit more as you twist. You can allow the hips to slightly move. Don't overly move through the lower body though. Don't force this rotation either. Keep it gentle. Even number. 6 to 10, last one here. And then you're just going to lower the arms, reaching one arm only up toward the ceiling, relaxing the shoulders. Lengthen the body, feel like you're tracing a line on the ceiling with your fingertips. Find that side bend. Once you're there, reach your bottom arm up. You're aiming to have the same distance between each ear and each bicep. Reach, lengthen to restack, and lower the arm to go over to the other side. Reach, lengthen, all the way up and down. Exhale as you side bend. Inhale as you restack. Another 3. Making sure you don't push the weight over in the opposite direction. Keep the weight centered. You should start to feel those obliques work, especially as that bottom arm comes up and you add that extra weight. Last one here. All right, we're going to come into our standing saw. So we're going to set the feet a little bit wider. Just lower one arm down. We're going to rotate towards one diagonal and take a little roll down. Nod the chin to the chest, roll it down. Reach that hand to the opposite toe. Now you may not be able to go all the way down, especially if you're in your third trimester. Just work through the roll down that is best for you. So it's more about combining the rotation with the articulation of the spine. Last one here, switching arms, rotate. And facing front to lower the arms. Okay, let's come into some leg work. So traditionally a mat class doesn't have a huge amount of quad or thigh work. So let's start standing before we come down onto the mat. So a good shoulder width with those feet. We're going to start with our squat. So we inhale, sit back and down into a squat, reach the arms forward. As you exhale, drive up through the heels and press the arms slightly back. It just helps to engage through the glutes. Inhale, sit back and down. Exhale, drive it up. You want to be mindful of where those knees are going as you sit into your squat. Don't let them roll in. Almost imagine you've got a big beach ball between your knees that's preventing the knees getting any narrower as you sit back down. Another thing you can think about is almost having a big band, a flex band around your thighs, and you're just trying to keep the tension in that flex band as you bend and stretch the legs. Another important thing is the neck alignment. So I'm going to do it from the side. Make sure as you sit into your squat that you don't keep your eyes looking at the same spot. Imagine you've got an apple between your chin and your chest, so the neck continues the line of the spine. We're going to aim for about 8 to 10 of these. Work at the pace that suits you. Maybe try looking for a little pause and hold at the bottom. And then, if available, we're going to add a little balance challenge. So balance just means we're working the core a little bit more. Depending on what stage of the pregnancy you're at, the balance may not work for you. So I'm going to give you 2 options just in case the full balance needs to be modified. We're going to squat. Option 1, tap one toe. Step it back out and tap the other toe. Keep it really light. So it's like a mini balance, but you're not going for that full hover. If you are able to go for the full balance, we squat to knee lift. Squat to knee lift. So we're transferring the weight from 2 legs to 1. Inhale. Exhale. Feeling that standing knee almost lift up through the quad. Last one here, make sure you're balanced again. We're going to go for 8 to 10 and then place that foot back down. Okay, working a little lateral rotation. Standing wider than the shoulders this time. Wrapping the glutes around the thighs, knees and toes pointing out on the diagonal. Either hands on the hips or we reach them overhead as we sink down into a plie and we lower them down as we drive back up. Inhale and exhale. Now the difference with our plie from the squat is that we're not hinging the body forward anymore. You want to imagine there's a wall behind you and you're just sliding down that wall. So my ears are staying over my shoulders are staying over my hips. I'm nice and upright. Inhale, exhale, 8 to 10. Last few here. Keeping the shoulders relaxed, arms slightly in front of you as they lift up. Let's have last one here. And down you come. Okay, let's continue with our legs. Single leg, we're going to work into our lunge. So I'm going to do it sideways so you can just see the alignment of my body and my legs. One leg steps back, drive that back knee down. Exhale, return to your standing hip distance apart. Inhale, take it back. Exhale, return. You want to take a big enough step back that that front knee ends up either over the heel or the arch of the foot. We're going to work for about 8 of these, so about 4 more. Transferring the weight. 2 more. Now once again, if available, we're going to add a little balance challenge. So we take it back and either just lightly tap or take it back to a knee lift. Obviously this one's a little bit harder. You take it at the height that works for you. Although we never want to lift it so high that we end up giving and buckling into that bottom knee. Let's go for about 8. Do make sure you count, especially now that we're working single leg, so we can work both legs evenly. 2 more. And last one. And place that foot down. Okay, let's go to the other side. So we're going to take One leg back and down, and return to hip distance. Now you may find the balance, even that modified version that's coming up, is still too much. So you may just want to do 2 rounds of this, no problem. And listen to your body. It's more important than ever to listen to your body. I'm giving you a guide in terms of number of repetitions. 8 may feel far too many, so just do the number that works for you. Last 2. And last 1. Let's get ready for our balance. Option to modify, tap. And tap, full balance. Driving that back leg through and up. Lift that standing knee up through the quad. You almost want to imagine that your standing leg is a tree trunk. It's rooted down into the floor. Your foot is the roots. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Last 2. And last 1. Well done. Okay, we're going to combine a few of those last 2 exercises just to complete our leg work. So we're going to start in our balance position. That may be your toe tap, don't forget. We take it through and back to a lunge. Lift, pivot to your plie. Lift, pivot to your lunge on the other side and draw up to your balance or your tap, whichever one you are going for. Lunge, plie, lunge, balance, lunge, plie, lunge, and balance. Keep breathing. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Now this pace may be a little too much for you. Take it at the pace that works for you. Let's finish on this one. And foot down. So you take as many sets as you wish there. Work with what your body feels it needs. If your legs can do a few more, do a few more. Remember, don't go too fast on that one. Okay, let's come down onto the hands and knees. Okay, coming down onto the hands and knees. Hands are under the shoulders, knees are under the hips. I'm going to talk a little bit about the placement of our shoulders in this position a little later on, but for now, just think about squashing a grape at the back of the armpit and lengthening from your tail to your head. We're going to work a little shoulder mobilization. We protract the shoulders and return. The shoulder blades are gliding around my rib cage, they're gliding wider, and then returning to their start position. 4 of these. And then we retract, return to neutral. The shoulder blades once more gliding around my rib cage, but they're gliding narrower. The distance between them is getting smaller. Trying not to force. And then let's combine. We protract through neutral to retract. So it's almost like I'm pushing the floor away during the protraction and dropping the torso closer to the floor on the retraction. It's like my shoulder blades are doors of a lift. They're opening and they're never quite closing. And then let's set them in the middle at their widest, most open position. We're going to cat stretch, tuck the tail, round the spine, drop the head. Inhale, lengthen out to neutral. Be mindful here that you don't go past neutral and end up in extension. Not that extension's wrong, we just don't want to overforce the lower back extension during your pregnancy. Naturally, the lower back is going to want to do that a lot more anyway, so let's just return to neutral for now. This should feel like a nice stretch for the lower back. And release. Here, you almost want to feel like you're a tortoise coming out of a shell. Widen the shoulders, lengthen the neck. Trying to evenly round the spine. During that cat stretch, don't just think about hunching the shoulders and dropping the head. You really want to feel like you're lifting that lower back up to the ceiling. And last one here. Okay, squashing that grape at the back of the armpit. Just check that the hands are still under the shoulders. You take one arm out to the side and we're going to have a gentle rotation. We thread the needle and we return. Push that floor away. Squash the grape under the armpit of the arm that's supporting you. Bending that supporting arm as you twist. Make sure we don't sit back over the heels on this one. Keep the weight balance between the front half and the lower half. Once you've done 5, place that hand down, and let's take it to the other side. Exhale, thread the needle. Inhale, open. Make sure if you wiggle your fingers, you can see them in your peripheral vision here. 4, gentle rotation. 3, opening that supporting arm, shoulder. 2, and last one. Place that hand down and just take a little sit back. Draw those arms in, just take a couple of shoulder rolls, shake out the wrists if you feel you need to. Okay, let's come back to our breathing. We spoke about it at the very beginning, but now I want to break down exactly what we want to be thinking about during our breathing through our Pilates class. I'm going to do this kneeling. If your knees are okay with it, you can kneel. Otherwise, you can come down to a seated position. Sometimes though, in a seated position, you'll find that your body will start to roll back a little bit. So you could just sit up against a wall, up against the back of the sofa or a chair if you feel you need that support in a seated position. So, as I say, I'm going to do it kneeling, just so I can be nice and upright. It's important that the pelvis and the spine are in neutral. So back to our breathing. Breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. The reason we breathe out through pursed lips in Pilates, it's just designed to fire up our deep core. So I'm going to focus on the deep core just for a few minutes and what exactly we should be feeling. So as you exhale, you want to imagine there's a corset around your waist and that corset's hugging you in. So on that exhale, you want to really feel like you're hugging bump in. And then as you inhale, you just release that off. Really visualize 360 degrees around the body, not just the front. So breathing in through the nose. Corset-like muscle hugs. Now, at the same time as that corset hugging, we also want to engage the pelvic floor. So you're going to hear a lot more about your pelvic floor during pregnancy than you may otherwise. So it's really important to understand exactly what you should be feeling. So one imagery that I often use is imagine you're dying to go to the loo and you're holding on to it. So it's that sensation of an internal lift. So every time you exhale, that corset hugs and we get the sensation of an internal lift. But I'm just going to stay with the pelvic floor focus on its own for a little while. I want you to imagine there's a lift in a lift shaft and it's got 10 floors that it can visit. We never want that lift to go above level 3. That's the maximum we're going to contract that pelvic floor. So just sitting with me for a moment, you can close your eyes if you want to. We're going to breathe in through the nose and as you exhale, just let that lift go to floor 1. And then as you inhale, release it back down to ground floor. Exhale, the lift goes to floor 1, then floor 2. And then back down to ground level. Exhale, the lift goes through floor 1, floor 2, and up to floor 3. And then back down. Just remember, it could go to floor 10. You never want it to go that far. It's about 30% of where it can go, just to get that sort of visualization and comparison for you. And that's what we want to think about when we engage our pelvic floor. So breathing in through the nose. Lift going to floor 1, 2, 3, and then back down. So you may just want to stick with this for a while. In the beginning, you may be a little unsure if it's right, but keep going with that visualization. Keep going with that practice, and it will suddenly start to click and become a little bit more automatic. And ideally, you work that corset hugging, pelvic floor engaging throughout your entire Pilates class. That's why we start with the breath, we link the breath with the movement, and you just keep that strain of breath focus going all the way through your class. Okay, once you've got your breath sorted, we're just going to think about releasing out through that lower back a little bit. I'm going to do it sideways. In a normal Pilates class, we'd often do this lying down, but it's quite easy to do kneeling as well. It's what we call our imprint. So as you exhale, that sensation again of hugging bump in, but just now a little contraction of the muscles running down the side of the waist as you shorten the distance between the ribs and the hips and just lengthen out through the lower back. And then as you inhale, you just release. Be mindful here that you don't squeeze the glutes and tuck the bottom under. It's abdominals we're working, not glutes. It's a gentle release of that lower back. So basically we're taking out the big arch from the lower back. That big arch should be quite small anyway if we're in neutral. We don't want to hang out into it. So set in neutral first, and then we imprint and release. Very subtle. And last one. It's just a nice way to take out any tension that's creeping into the lower back. Okay, coming down onto the elbows. Feet flat, knees bent, hip distance apart. And we're just going to focus on the placement of our lower back. Don't let it overarch. We're slightly imprinting actually here, just to make sure those lower abdominals are engaged. And you want to think about lifting out of the shoulders, almost like you're trying to look over your knees. And then we're just going to come into a little hip release. So first, let the right knee open. You can roll out onto the side of the foot and exhale, draw it back up. Inhale, let the left knee open, roll out onto the side of the foot and exhale, draw it back up. So what we're doing here is engaging the deep abdominals to prevent us from swaying from side to side. Obviously that was a massive exaggeration. You're not going to sway that much. But one leg is going to stay still. Pelvis is going to stay in its start position. Even number 6 to 10. And last one here. Okay, we're going to come into our leg slide. So we open, we slide forward, we turn the knee to face the ceiling and we drag the leg back in. We inhale to open and slide. Exhale to turn the knee to the ceiling and drag it back in. Again, 6 to 10. Focusing on the pelvis, staying still. Inhale and exhale. Now you may find during this series that you start to get a little bit of tension creeping into the front of the neck. If that's the case, grab a few cushions. And I'll just show you using this, for example. You can prop the cushions up against the cabinet, the chair, the wall, and you can just sit yourself up. So you've got that incline, but you're not taking any strain into the arms, the shoulders, the neck. Choose whatever version works best for you. Okay, once you've done your 6 to 10 leg slides, engaging through the lower abdominals, we exhale, peel the foot and the leg to tabletop and place it back down. Exhale. Inhale. I almost want you to imagine that it's the engagement of the abdominals lifting the leg. Of course, your hip flexor is going to work. You can't avoid the hip flexor working, but really focus on the abdominals drawing in and down. 6 to 10. Looking forward, make sure we're not looking up at the ceiling. Okay, right leg comes up, we hold it. Exhale, reach it forward. Inhale, bend. On that low diagonal, never so low that you start to arch into the lower back. Breathe out, breathe in for 4. Last 2. And last one, draw it in, foot goes down, left leg up. Exhale, reach, inhale, bend. Lifting out of those shoulders, keep the eye line forward, relax into that neck for 4. And 3. And 2. And 1. Back to that right leg. Lift it, stretch it forward on the low diagonal. Now we're going to lift on the inhale and lower on the exhale. Point the foot to lift, flex the foot to lower. For 6, only lift it as high as that pelvis can stay in its controlled position. 4, 3, 2, and last one. Bend that leg, foot goes down, left leg comes up, we reach it on that low diagonal. Inhale, exhale, 7, 6, and 5, and 4. Reach and lengthen through that heel. Last 2, and last one. Good. Bend that leg in, foot goes down. Okay. What also tends to happen during the pregnancy, especially as you get further along into our third trimester, is sometimes little ankle swelling. So it's important to keep movement through that ankle joint. So just lift that right leg back to tabletop, and we're just going to circle the ankle 4 or 5 times in one direction. And then we reverse it 4 or 5 times in the other direction. And then reset that ankle and let's go into leg circles. So from the hip, we circle the leg. Now, the bigger the circle, the more the core has to work to stabilize the pelvis. We're going to do 5 in one direction, 5 in the other direction. Now, you can do this with a bent leg, as I've got here, or you can do it with a straight leg. A little bit more advanced, a little bit more core work. Also a little bit more hip flexor work. So if you have already felt that hip flexor get a little bit grippy, definitely do it with a bent leg. Make sure you reverse, same number in each direction, going with that straight leg if you wish. All right, bend that leg. Other leg, draw it to tabletop. We circle that ankle 5 times, 4 to 5 times in one direction, and then 4 to 5 times in the other direction. All right, let's circle from the hip, sticking with tabletop if you feel a bit grippy in the hip flexors, or going for a full leg circle if you can. And last one here, bend the leg, foot goes down. Okay, coming up to a seated position. You may find that the neck and shoulders got a little bit tense there. So let's just drop the head and almost just let it sway from side to side. And then up through little shoulder rolls. Okay, we're going to just do a little bit of back and shoulder release. So we're going to work from the bra strap up to the crown of the head. Below the bra strap is going to stay nice and still in neutral. Hands just resting on the floor at the side of you. Almost imagine you're on sand. As you exhale, trace a semicircle with the fingers in the sand. Drop the head and the shoulders. And then inhale, return and slightly lift the chest and the eye line, carrying the arms slightly behind you. So really similar to that first exercise we did, that visualization of pulling yourself up to the surface of the swimming pool. And let's just go flexion to extension, exhale to inhale. Couple more here. And last one. Okay, let's work into the opposite side of the shoulder girdle. So we're going to do some hip lifts. My feet are going to be hip distance apart, flat on the floor. My hands are behind me, they're wider than my shoulders, just slightly. And my fingers are pointing out sideways for now. You can change that up when we get going into the exercise if you feel you need to. As you exhale, you lift the hips. My eye line is forward. Inhale to lower back down. Feel like the knees are shooting away from the shoulders. Imagine you're holding an apple between the chin and the chest. Exhale, inhale. 3 and 2. Don't overlock into the elbows. Last one. Okay, now turning the fingers to face front, we're going to come into a little tricep dip. So we're going to bend and stretch the arms. Elbows are driving back. Arms are slightly wider than the hips, so you don't feel you need to overly pinch in the shoulder blades. Shouldn't really have any pinching at all. They should feel wide and set against the body. We're going to work for about 8 of these. And last one. Okay, now we're going to combine that hip lift with the tricep dip and a leg slide from earlier on. So we take 1 hip lift, exhale, inhale. As you tricep dip and stretch, you stretch one leg and then we stretch the other leg. Exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale. Keep breathing. We're going to do 4 to 5 sets here, or the number that works best for you. Let's have 2 more rounds. Lifting out of the shoulders, don't let the shoulders become your earrings. Thinking about the lower abdominals, especially as we leg slide. And last one. Okay, now if the wrists need a break, turn the fingers sideways again. We're going to do one hip lift and hold, ready to lift. Alternating legs, tabletop. Breathe out, breathe in, not overlocking into the elbows. 4, 3, 2, last one, and seat down. Well done. Have a little shake out of those wrists and a couple of shoulder rolls. Okay, let's lie on the side of the body. Okay, we're going to lie down. This bottom arm is going to bend. If that's not comfortable for the shoulder, just grab yourself a cushion or a pillow and prop the head up on that pillow. My knees are bent. My thighs and knees are about 45 degrees in front of me, so my feet are in line with the tail and the spine. And I'm just going to reach my top arm toward the floor, just in front of the chest. And I'm going to go for arm circles, working into spinal rotation. So as the arm goes back, I rotate the upper body, I graze the arm over the top of the thigh, and I'm back to my start position. Exhale as I rotate, and if you do have that arm underneath, use the hand just to cradle the weight of the head. Make sure as this arm goes back that we don't let it hang out of the shoulder. You want to have a nice straight line all the way across the shoulder blades to the fingertips. Let's go for about 5 of these. As long as you're counting, just make sure you do the same number on both sides. It's not important if you don't do 5 exactly, as long as you're balanced. Last one here. And all the way down. Okay, let's come into a little side lying work for the legs. So this bottom arm is going to lengthen out. My top hand will be in front of my rib cage and my top leg is going to lengthen. First things first, reach that top leg as long as possible. You should have seen then that my hip almost moved about an inch. You just want to stack the bottom hip over the top hip, just so we're in a neutral pelvis, in a side lying plane as well as the sort of bird's eye view plane. We exhale, lift the leg, and inhale, lower the leg. So you're going to point to lift and flex to lower. Let's work 8 to 10 of these, really reaching. Don't let the leg go so high that we collapse down into that waist. It's more about the length of the leg than the height here. For 6, and reach. And the flexed foot on the way down just helps you reach a little bit longer before you start the new repetition. Relaxing the shoulders. 3 and 2. Last one, you're going to hold it up. Little tennis ball size circles. 10 and 9. We're circling from the hip, not the knee or the ankle and the foot. Small so you can maintain neutral. Breathing in and out wherever feels comfortable. And then we reverse for 10. Keep reaching, keep lengthening. Keep that top hip stacked over the bottom hip. You should start to feel the side of the leg now. Last 3, last 2, last 1. Then we flex the foot to bend the leg in front. Think tabletop. Don't let the knee collapse down, otherwise that goes into the waist. So keep that knee propped up, keep reaching the hip away. Exhale, kick it away. You can keep a flex foot the entire time here. Sometimes just popping a hand on that hip just helps get that feedback for that reach away. Let's go for 6. Inhale, exhale, last 4, and 3, last 2, and last 1, and reach it away. You should definitely feel that outside leg now. Okay, we're going to work the inner thigh on that bottom leg. So I'd recommend grabbing a couple of pillows or cushions at this point, because I want you to prop your knee and maybe even the shin of that top leg onto those cushions. Otherwise that hip is going to roll forward. So try and get the height that works for you. Now my bottom leg is going to reach nice and long. I'm going to flex the foot and I'm just going to lift and lower that leg 10 times. Exhale on the lift, inhale on the lower. Don't force this one. It's literally the tiniest hover. Focus again on lengthening through all the way to that heel. Let's go. Last 5 and 4 and 3 and 2. Last one. Okay, up you come. Let's move those cushions. We'll use them a little bit later when we go onto the other side. And we're going to work into the side of the torso now. So I'm going to return my legs to that side-seated, almost mermaid position. Thighs and knees 45 degrees in front of me. My heels are in line with my hips, in turn in line with the hand that's on the floor. And I'm just going to reach that top arm to my top ankle, my outside ankle. I press down into the hand, the knees and the feet. I paint a big rainbow with that top arm and I side bend. Inhale, control yourself on the way down. You don't want to end up with that shoulder becoming your earring. Really lift out of that shoulder. Let's go for another 7 and control it down. And 6, avoiding rotating at this point. If you need to adjust where the hand is in relation to the feet, you can. 5 and 4. Feel like you're dropping the head, lifting the rib cage. 3. Last 2. And last 1. Hold it up, just reach the arm to the ceiling and we clam. 8 and 7 and 6 and 5 and 4 and 3. Exhale, inhale, last 2. Last 1, lower the knee, thread the needle. Exhale, inhale. Make sure this arm doesn't go behind you and try not to look up at it here because that does tend to pull you back off balance. We're going to do 8 if possible. You can reduce the number if you need for 5. Also, if you're feeling it now too much in the shoulder and in the wrist, you can do all of this series on the forearm and the elbow. So you choose the option that works best for you. Last one. And down you come. Okay, back to that hand. So if you do know you have a propensity for wrist tension, I do that full side bend, twist, clam series on the elbow because this one is on the hand. So you want to make sure that you're ready to sort of support yourself with the arm. Single arm tricep dip. So we're lifting out of the shoulder. The hand is lining up with the lower hip and the heels. The elbow is driving into the waist. We're not letting it go behind us. We want to open that shoulder, almost feel like you're poking yourself in the waist. Take the weight over the hand. We're going to aim for about 8 or 10. Keep the count so you're balanced on both sides. And then on the last one, you're going to hold it down. Give me one more set of clams. Open the knee, close the knee, keeping that tricep dip. Exhale, inhale, open that supporting shoulder. Draw that elbow in. Let's have 2 more here. And last one, and press the floor away. Okay, let's do that whole series on the other side. So let's swing around. We're gonna start, knees bent, feet in line, bottom arm bent, or use one of your cushions or pillows if your lower arm doesn't like this position. Fingertips reaching to the floor, exhale, circle the arm round, back, rotate. Check here, can you draw a straight line from your fingertips to your opposite shoulder? Don't let the arm hang out of the shoulder socket. Inhale to return, exhale, back and around. 4, inhale, and 3. Use that bottom hand to cradle the weight of the head as it rolls back. Last one here. Okay, placing that hand down, lengthen the bottom arm, lengthen the top leg and reach that hip away. We exhale to lift, inhale to lower, point to lift, flex to lower. 8 and 7 and 6 and 5, last 4 and 3, last 2. Get ready to hold it up, reach longer, we circle. 10, 9, small enough that you can keep control of that pelvis and that torso. So this is a great way to work the core, even without obviously doing ab exercises. Just stabilizing. Let's reverse. 10 and 9, breathing in and out wherever feels comfortable. 5 and 4, relaxing the shoulders. And get ready to bend and kick. As you bend, reach that hip away. Keep that knee up in line with the hip. It doesn't need to go higher than the hip, but it doesn't sink down to the floor. For 6, exhale, inhale, exhale, last 4, and 3. Should start to feel that outside leg, outside glute now. And last one, and lower it down. Well done. Good. Okay, grab the pillows, grab the cushions, prop that top leg. I've popped it under my shin. It just helps to keep a nice parallel alignment of the leg. Reach that top leg, that hip, of that top leg away so we're not collapsing, and then reach that bottom leg. Flexing it, we lift and lower. 10 and 9. Again, don't force this one. It's a little gentle hover. For 6 and 5 and 4 and 3. Last 2 and last one. Well done. Okay, up you come. We are done with those pillows and cushions for now. Let's come into our side seated position. Remembering, if you were down on the forearm at this point on the previous side, you do the same now. Even if you feel stronger on this arm and shoulder, it's important that we stay balanced. Okay, reaching that arm, we take a big side bend up and over. Feel like there's a beach ball here and you're trying to drape over it. Control the return down, no earrings. Exhale, inhale, for 6 and 5, 4 and 3, last 2 and last one. Reach the arm to the ceiling, level out the body in that plank, clam, exhale, inhale, 7 and 6 and 5, remember you can do this on the forearm, and 3, 2, thread the needle, exhale, inhale, arms should be in your peripheral vision, just look forward, not up, and 5, and 4, you should really feel that underneath side working now, 3, last 2, and last one, and down you come. Hand on the side, top hip for our tricep dips. Weight goes over as we bend. For 6 and 5, almost like you're about to poke yourself in your own waist with that elbow. Last 2, and last one, hold it, clam, 8, 7. Don't worry how high that knee is going. I'm more interested that the pelvis stays still. For 4, opening that bottom shoulder. 3, drive that elbow in. 2, and last one, press the floor away. Well done. Little shake out of the wrists if you need it. Little shoulder roll if you need it. Okay, let's come back into our 4-point kneeling position. Okay. Hands under shoulders, knees under hips. So I said I'd address this position sort of technically and from a placement point of view. So we are thinking about grabbing hold of the mat. You don't want to collapse down into the wrist. You want to open up through the shoulders, squash that imaginary grape at the back of the armpit and lengthen. Almost like I've got hold of the tips of your ears and I'm pulling you forward as your tail is trying to reach in the opposite direction. Okay, zipping up that corset, don't let the lower back overarch. Glide your right arm forward and up for 5. Now we don't want to lift it too high that the shoulders start to tip or the back starts to tip. High enough that you feel that supporting shoulder and core begin to work. So we're challenging the core because we're now trying to balance on 3 points instead of 4. Once you've done 4 on the right, we do 4 or 5 on the other side. Balancing, same number, then we go side. Breathe out. Make sure that hand is always in your peripheral vision. 3 and 2 and 1. You should definitely feel that supporting arm, that supporting shoulder, and the core beginning to work. 4. Exhale, 3 and 2 and 1. Now let's go into legs. So just make sure those knees are no wider than your hip. You're going to flex one foot and float the knee off the floor just an inch. Exhale, kick it up for 8. Inhale down. Never so high that that lower back starts to sink. Exhale, inhale for 4. 3, last 2. Hold it up. We're gonna lengthen the leg away and hamstring curl. Point to lengthen, flex to hamstring curl. For 6, wide shoulders. 5, breathe out. Breathe in, 4, 3, last 2, and last 1. Place the knee down, reset the body, float the other knee and foot off, foot is flexed, exhale, inhale. It's almost like you're trying to kick the ceiling, hips are staying level, corset is zipping up. For 4, and 3, last 2, last 1, hold it there, don't drop that thigh or knee, point to reach, flex, 7, 6, and 5, wide shoulders, keep squashing that grape, 4, this is a great way to work the core during the pregnancy, 2 more, and last 1, knee down. Now if you need to take a quick wrist shake out or shoulder roll, you can. One final one here, swimming, slide right arm, left leg, only once they're straight, so you want to hit this position, then they lift, then hit that position once more and drag it in, other arm, other leg. It's just giving you maximum preparation time for the core and that supporting shoulder to give you the support you need to balance on those 2 points instead of 4. Even number, let's aim for about 10, so 6, never lifting the arm or the leg so high that we sink in the lower back, never lifting it so high that we lean or tip or twist in any way. Shoulders wide, squash that grape at the back of the armpit. Last 2. And last 1. And take a shell stretch for me. Let the knees open a little bit wider, just to give you space, just to give bump a little space. And then gently up you come. So I've got a couple more exercises with the hands down. So I just want to give the wrists a little break. So we're going to do a kneeling squat to give the hands and wrists a break. So we're going to come up onto the knees. I'm going to do it on a diagonal. My knees are about the width of my shoulders and my feet are slightly closer together. Now we did a squat very early on in the series, so it's exactly the same, just in a kneeling position. You inhale, sit back, arms press forward. Exhale, drive up from the glutes, draw the arms back. Inhale. Exhale, inhale, exhale, 7, 6, never sitting all the way down to the feet, 5, 4, 3, and 2, and last 1. Well done. Let's come back down to the hands and knees. This time, once you've set the hands under the shoulders and the knees are in place, one leg is going to go behind and we're just going to work through that ankle. So this is another one, as well as those ankle rolls we did earlier in the original abdominal series, just for our leg circles. This is a great way to loosen up and keep the ankle joint mobile. Let's have a good 8 to 10 on each side. Exhale, inhale, and then down we come. It's also a really good way to just get a little bit of core work in, because you're supporting in that 4-point kneeling, that neutral pelvis and spine. Little stretch out through the calf. Last 3. And last 2. And last 1. Okay, knees either together or slightly apart. I'd probably say slightly apart, it's just a more comfortable position. And I want you to set your hands further forward, drawing the shoulders over the hands. So you can now see that my hips are in front of my knees as opposed to over my knees. I'm slightly angling my fingers in. Pilates push-up. We go down for 3, 2, 1, exhale, push up. I am more interested that you keep the alignment of the neck and the spine and the pelvis than I am how low you're going. 3 counts down, 1 count up. Inhale on the way down, exhale on the way up. Again, this is great for the core. The knees are down to give you that support. The further back the knees are, the more intense it is on the core, so just bring the knees back under if you need to. 4 more. 3 more. 2 more. And last one. And just sit back into a shell stretch, opening those knees, relaxing the body. Relax the head and neck. All right, let's finish with our leg pull front, legs slightly apart, toes tucking under, squash that grape at the back of the armpit, long spine. Exhale, lift both knees 1 inch. Inhale, hold. Exhale, lower the knees. Inhale, hold. And it really is just an inch. The higher the knees go, the easier the exercise is, so keep it very small. For 7, inhale, hold. Exhale, lower. Inhale, hold. And really try to avoid plonking yourself back down. Don't want to hurt the knees in any way. Nice and gentle. And down. Imagine your mat is almost a thin layer of ice on a lake and you don't want to crack it. 5, hug that corset in and down. Exhale, inhale, pause. Exhale, inhale, pause. 3 and 2 and last one. And down you come. Well done. Let's come and sit down, legs crossed. Let's have a little side bend series. So sitting tall. If you need to do this on the knees, if you really struggle to find that you can't sit upright and you're rolling back, on the knees is fine. One hand on the floor, big side bend over, soft bottom shoulder and elbow, drive the opposite hip down to the floor, all the way up and down. Over to the other side. Make sure the hand that's on the floor is slightly in front of the hip. Otherwise it just tends to tense into the shoulders. And last one. All right, let's come into our reformer mermaid position. So one leg is bent in front, one leg is behind. And we're just going to touch that hand almost sort of diagonally in front of the knee and open up. This isn't a big rotation, it's small. And then we scoop and rotate. Notice my hand has had to move back now. I'm just tapping in front of the knee and then I bring the hand in front and I open up and back. Scoop, twist, rotate. I'm keeping space for bump here. I'm not collapsed over. I'm just rounding, flexing my upper back. Last one, inhale, exhale. All right, other side. Inhale, flex over, exhale. Inhale, flex over, exhale. Last one. And let's just finish with a little flexion extension. Hands can just rest on the knees. Chin to chest, flex. And extend, no cranking into the back of the neck. So we're thinking bra strap up to head. And reset to neutral. That completes our prenatal Matwork Pilates class. I do hope you enjoyed. Remember, listen to your body, modify if you need to, and just take it at your own pace. And do get medical practitioner's approval to exercise before you start this class. Thank you so much for joining me. Like and subscribe below. I hope to see you again soon.